Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. And this is kind of a follow-up to what I was talking about in the last video when I talked about nothing wrong with living below your means. But then I also threw out the reality that many people live not just at their means, which is nothing wrong with living at your means at least, but beyond their means. Because they try and keep up with the Joneses. How many times, it could be some of us. And I know there was a point I was there. I was there at one point. It was a brief point, but still. But how many times have either us or people that we've known have bought things, not necessarily because they need them, but they need to keep up with the other people. It's like one of my mentors talked about this one time. It's like, you might get somebody, they live in a nice neighborhood, got a nice house, everything, but they notice that their neighbor has paved the driveway. So they feel like, well, they paved their driveway, I got to pave mine. Their neighbor has bought a boat. Okay. In fact, it wasn't, one of my mentors talked about it, but it was, I think it was Myron Golden in the Ebony Treasure book that I've talked about before, But here's the general thing, the neighbor got a nice driveway, so you got to do it. The neighbor just got a boat. You got to get a boat, even though you would probably use that boat like once or twice a year at best. The neighbor got a nice late model car. You got to do it. There's a lot of people doing that. A lot of people, just because their neighbor or something. It's like it's a competition. They want that status and everything. And one thing Myron Golden said, he said, that status is trying to impress people who don't care about you anyway. Because usually when people trying to keep up with the Joneses, they trying to keep up the appearances. They trying to look like they balling, they making money and everything. And I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of people in some serious debt because they trying to impress people who don't care about them anyway. They trying to impress people, because I thought about it because, I told people I drive a modest car. I purposely live modestly. Why? I'm living below my means, right? Because I'm not worried about trying to keep up. But yeah, there was a point in my life I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah. And my credit score took a hit. My credit score, it took a while because living with the Joneses really messed up my credit because I couldn't just do it on the money I was making. I had to use those credit cards and everything. And I was just like, you know what? This is stupid as hell. You getting stuff just to say you got it. You doing stuff, and that happens. That's a big thing, especially in middle class communities. People got to be middle class. They got to keep up with everything. They got to keep their yards looking a certain way. And I'm just like, okay, I can see keeping stuff, your things work, but who you trying to impress? Indeed, there's a lot of people who will say, I've seen you might have seen the memes with it where you get some people middle class or even poor, but they got all the expensive clothes on. And, they got the expensive shoes and everything. And, they looking good. They spending all this money. Meanwhile, the person who's actually wealthy, they come and buying the stuff they got at a discount store. Instead of driving that late model car, they driving like an economy car. And they good with it. And even when you do see some real rich people driving that late model car or something, that's because they making so much money, they can just pay cash for it. That's only time. But then other people, they trying to keep up with the Joneses and everything. Or, and I'm going to tell you what, they try to keep up with the Joneses so much, they will fight to buy stuff from an expensive store. And let me share something. And this was in a black community. This was in PG County, Maryland. And I remember back in the day, it didn't have a high-end department store in there, and people were complaining. people were complaining. They were saying there's no high-end stores there we can buy all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so go to someplace else and buy it. You don't want to pay money for a lot of stuff. I mean, or if you do, find a place. Now, let me share some, because I know people, they've seen me on some of my polo videos. I got the polos on. I got the Lacoste on and everything. 80% of the clothing I buy, I like style and everything, but I'll buy it from an outlet or something, or a discount place on sale. Like when I buy, like the Ralph Lauren's, I'll get it from an outlet where, as soon as you walk in, there's already a discount. And then I only go when I only go when there's a sale or something. I got a coupon to get even more off of the product. It's like, and if you're going to buy something nice, you look for like it inexpensively. And that's another thing the wealthier do. When they do buy nice stuff, they'll find a way to pay the less money for it, But see, you get some people, they try and keep up with the Joneses, and they'll be proud of saying, I went to this store and bought this expensive thing. I paid full price. First of all, a lot of people do that for their own self-esteem. Low self-esteem. And, when you get in the middle class especially, they'll do it just to say they bought it. Not understanding that the wealthy, they'll get the same thing. If they even get the same thing, they're going to get it someplace else, And the most you could even see their wealth is maybe in their home. And indeed, there was a book that came out a few decades ago, The Millionaire Next Door. There's a lot of millionaires living in very modest homes, driving modest cars and stuff. And they're not concerned about the Joneses, Because here's the problem with it. What good does it? If you want to buy something, okay, I'll use myself again. I like Ralph Lauren. I like all that. I could care less about trying to impress anybody. I do stuff because I like it. The shoes I get them because I like them. Of course, I look for the most inexpensive place to buy the styles I like, And, I still like style and everything, but I don't really do it to impress people. I just like the feel and everything, just like the style. But I don't do it to keep up with the Joneses. Because you never can. You never really can. The Joneses are imaginary. And plus, if you see somebody spending, like a neighbor or something, spending money on that car or everything, you don't know what type of debt they in. I remember when I lived in PG County, and I lived in Fort Washington, Maryland. Anybody familiar with that area? You got a lot of high-end houses there. And I remember, and I wasn't living in like the rich part, but like where the many mansions were. But I remember I talked with a contractor. I had a conversation with a contractor I was cool with. And I remember, never forget what he said. He said, yeah, they got these big old houses, but if you go inside, they don't have any furniture. They can't, if they get a roof leak, they can't afford to fix it. But from the outside, it looks great. Don't try. Don't try. If you're going to get a home, make sure you have enough money, the ability to keep the place fixed, well furnished, all of that. But do it for your own edification. Do it for yourself. Don't do it to like impress other people. If you're going to spend money, only do it because you like it. If I get a late model sports car, it's because I like to drive. I could care less about everybody else. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Or if you do something, you get something expensive, there's nothing wrong with getting something expensive, but only do it if you want that particular thing. And then, like I said, look around, see if we can get a good deal on it. So anyway, right? I want y'all to think about that. And let's go make that money.